Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel and thank you for subscribing. This is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading on October 10, 2025, and this beautiful little mini original painting is called Fairy Fox by Nikki Tognett. I'm going to read an article that I've had for a while, and this is written by a targeted female, Camile Piona, and it's entitled COINTELPRO, the deployment of information operations on civilians. The 5 components of CIA military information operations comprise the protocol of the present gangstalking of millions of American whistleblowers, dissidents, and other innocent civilians. Number 1. PSYOPS. The US Army PSYOPS insignia bears the words persuade, influence, change. Psychological operations accomplishes this by strategically conveying selected information about the targeted quote-unquote enemy to a target audience to motivate the target audience to behave in a certain way toward the enemy. Meaning the target audience is your neighborhood, your community, and then you are the enemy. You're the target. You're the enemy. Of 3 different types of PSYOPs, white, gray, and black, black operations are the ones being perpetrated on the targeted civilians deemed enemies of the state, the aim of which is to break up every relationship by getting everyone to fear and despise the quote-unquote enemy, thus systematically isolating the victim and removing all support. The MO used to accomplish this is the disclosure of quote-unquote sensitive material about the enemy that contains a credible threat attributed to a private party. Ostensibly, it is being disclosed to warn the target audience for their protection. In reality, the quote-unquote sensitive disclosure has been specifically crafted to foment disaffection, discontent, and opposition within the enemy's own circles, deconditioning any previous experience of the enemy as a pleasant person of sound mind and conditioning a new perception of the quote-unquote enemy as severely disturbed, repulsive, and noxious. The target audience, having been made to fear and despise the enemy, is further persuaded to distance themselves from the quote-unquote enemy. The source and originator of the operation, the U.S. government, must deny their involvement and be perceived as a disinterested, benevolent party, merely passing on reports of danger obtained from private individuals. Prior to the operation, the black operatives, the black ops, extensively profile and assess the attitudes and vulnerabilities of their target audience, your community, and tailor the most effective approach. This is why if you move to the suburbs or the city, they will reevaluate your target audience and concoct a new narrative. And of course, if you move to a rural area, it's icing on the cake. They can surveil that population and come up with any number of lies. The lies crafted prey upon the specific fears of each targeted audience, depending on what the operatives would determine these specific fears to be. And in every case, the quote-unquote enemy is portrayed as mentally ill and unstable, and as a vengeful and posing a serious threat toward the person whom they have ostensibly come by to warn. Another name for PSYOPs is MISO, military information support operations. Number 2, MILDEC, MILDEC, which is comprised of military, MIL, deception. This is the operation to deceive decision makers associated with the enemy. That enemy, that can be an employer, a landlord, a doctor, a lawyer, a loan officer, anyone with the power over the enemy. The decision makers are misled and unwittingly prompted to make decisions that will affect the enemy in ways consistent with the covert goals of the mission, like bribing and coercing and threatening your real estate agents, both in New Jersey and in Kentucky. The deception and real plan thus unfold concurrently. Number 3, OPSEC, OPSEC. That's Operations Security, OPSEC. This is the second operation to protect the security, meaning the secrecy, of both the real plan and the deception, so there can be no compromise of information that would expose the real plan. This is achieved by issuing strict orders to the target audience to mask the information they are given and not disclose it to the enemy. The gag order may come in the form of a national security letter or similar guise. The wall of secrecy ensures the cooperation of the targeted audience, while also keeping the enemy in the dark by denying him or her access to the information that would be needed to access what is happening. Thus, the real plan is prevented from being discovered and exposed by either party. According to Wikipedia, OPSEC is similar to methods used in organized crime circles throughout the world, in which a false purpose is given as a cover for the real plan and succeeds as a function of a double-walled secrecy. Number 4, CNO, Computer Network Operations, is the operation for cyber penetration and cyber attacks. Information about the quote-unquote enemy is gathered through computer network exploitation, CNE, that keeps the enemy's computer under remote-controlled surveillance, whereby emails may be surreptitiously altered or denied, access to websites blocked, and spoofed messages displayed that keep the enemy restricted and unaware. Also, in many cases, the enemy's computers or computer networks are remotely destroyed. I'm sure this has happened to any one of you guys, including my own self here in Jackson County, Kentucky. Number 5, EW. Electronic warfare is the operation using sonic and electromagnetic microwave technologies. Electronic attack, EA, is the division of EW, electronic warfare, deploying directed energy weapons as fires to disable the enemy through illness and torture. The extremely high-level microwave exposure issued by these weapons may cause traumatic brain injury and other known neurological diseases believed to have quote-unquote an unknown cause. The scorching hot microwave weapons may also be indicative of the fiery trial spoken of in the Bible, soon to be perpetrated on a wider scale using portable HAARP, HAARP, and active denial system technology that will actively deny your rights with a microwave strike that brings you to your knees. Note, the PSYOPs insignia below, and I'll show you a photo of it. They accomplish their persuade, influence, change strategy by concocting vilifying lies and weaving them skillfully into real factual and biographical information, fabricating quote-unquote evidence by taking words and actions out of context, using spliced together audio, video, confidential documents and extenuating any sins, quote unquote, they've been able to dig up. It all gets edited together in a defamatory manner designed to be as damaging as possible. The finished product then being used to break up all of the victim's relationships toward the goal of isolating the victim and removing all support. All of these people, I'm adding this, should be tried for treason, defamation, felony stalking, felony assaults, and premeditated murder. Black operatives are by definition professional liars. Their job is to tailor lies to achieve a covert goal. Thus, to an employer, they might portray the victim as a thief. To a new boyfriend, they might portray the victim as a prostitute with untreated venereal disease. Like, who would know anything like that about somebody, right? Around children, they might portray the victim as a pedophile. Calling the kettle black. How many of these people are all of the above, right? All of the above. Professional liars. I haven't found one honest person in this community, let me tell you. As you can imagine, such tactics are very effectively prompt the targeted audience to cast the victim out of their lives. Two characterizations are always given. The targeted individual is portrayed as both criminally minded and having a history of serious mental illness. You can always tell a black operation by this dual portrayal, along with the quote-unquote need to disclose sensitive confidential information about the targeted individual to all his or her relationships. The nefarious art paints a credible picture of extraordinary severity that can be made of anyone. It is then presented to the victim's employer, landlord, doctor, lawyer, pastor, family members, anyone in the victim's life, each getting a tailored warning of a serious threat that the victim poses to them. The target audience has their perception radically changed as a result of the diabolically skillful presentation. It achieves its covert aim to get everyone in the victim's life to fear and despise the victim, and to get everyone to cast the victim out of their lives. I'm just going to add this, guys. In my life, whenever somebody's told me something, if I've heard a lie or a slander, or I always keep it in the back of my mind to consider the source. Why are they saying this? Why are they telling me this? What is the purpose? Consider the source. This eventually renders the targeted individuals friendless, jobless, homeless, penniless, isolated, and indigent, soon forgotten by the friends and family who have cast them out and shunned everywhere they turned for help. Only then can the final phase begin. The targeted individuals are disappeared in the middle of the night, either executed in cold blood or accused of a spectacular crime and taken captive to a prison or a psych hospital. Wake up, Christians. One taken, one left behind is not about a rapture. Let me scroll down here. This is the insignia, the official US Army PSYOPS insignia. Doesn't that look like a chess piece? Looks like a knight. Persuade, change, influence. Wow. Imagine doing that for a living. Being a deceiver, a liar, a professional liar. What do you want to be when you grow up? Oh, I want to be a professional liar. Persuade, change, and influence. The official U.S. Army PSYOPS insignia. I implore everyone to break any vows they've made to Satan and return to sanity. Imagine Mary and Joseph taking baby Jesus into Egypt to protect him from the wicked rulers and finding themselves surrounded by 100,000 pastors recruited as spies and secret police forces, all of them operating under the great delusion, all of them instructed to obey evil, and all shouting in unison, "There's that baby! Seize him!" For indeed, under the guise of quote-unquote national security secrets, the righteous are being cast into the great tribulation and set up for imprisonment and execution toward the goal of a one-world police state and a one-world religion that worships the beast. And indeed, we are about to see trouble greater than any before in the history of the world. Matthew 24:21. Satan's troops at this very time are defaming us with malicious slander in secret and secretly turning the people in our lives into Satan's accomplices, converting them into paid spies and informants using diabolical deceit and fancy euphemisms for bribery to make everyone a partner in the genocide. Then Satan again cries, quote-unquote, national security secrets, to threaten everyone into silence so his crimes won't be discovered, just as every psychopath does. When the workers of the lawlessness visit you to defile their next victim, they will swear you to secrecy, but I say obey God, not men. Acts 5:28. And make no vows to Satan. Put your hands to your ears and explain that his children are part of a family who keep no secrets from one another, a family held accountable to one another who deals with sin according to the commandments. For when Satan's sons teach Christian pastors to hate and betray their members, they murder their souls. Matthew 5:21-24. And then Satan's sons forbid God's pastors the right to discuss the slander that harms the sheep in their care. The pastors do bow to the dominion of Satan and violate God's commandment to confront and discuss it thoroughly so the truth may be established, to work it out and restore these relationships to righteousness. Matthew 18:15-20. Even those who refrain from partnering with the beast, but stand idly by while the beast destroys the righteous of God, are risking eternal punishment. Leviticus 19:16 and Matthew 25:30-46. Wash your soiled robes and make them white in the blood of the Lamb, so you may make it through the great tribulation and serve on his throne. For it is only through healthy communication that we can keep our relationships free of all evil and delusion. And only when can Yeshua recognize us as his disciples, he will know us by our love for one another and by the fruits of our love. And who does not heed the word of admonition will be guilty of the great transgression. Psalm 19:13. Then, in your congregations, proclaim a holy fast and gather for a solemn assembly. Esther 4:15-16, Joel 2:15, 16, 19. Priests and ministers of God, as you weep, lead us in this prayer. Spare your people, O God, and give not your heritage to reproach, that the wicked should rule over us. Joel 2:17. And they overcame him, the beast, by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. They loved not their lives unto death. Revelation 12:11. And yes, this is that testimony. Through knowledge we will endure to the end, and by holiness be counted worthy to stand in his presence. Many will run to and fro with this message, Daniel 12:4, shining the light of knowledge into the darkness, Daniel 12:3, until the world is no longer deceived by the beast, and his government has come to an end. After the tribulation, not before or during, but specifically after, Matthew 24:29-30, he will return for the people who seek him, and of his government there shall be no end. That was written by Camile Piona. It's entitled Today's COINTELPRO, the Deployment of Information Operations on Civilians. These 5 components of the CIA military information operations comprise the protocol of the present gang stalking of millions of American whistleblowers, dissidents, and other innocent civilians. This is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. I look forward to questions and comments down below, and feel free to share this information. You can share this. Hit the thumbs up. It helps the channel grow, get the message out there. And while you're listening, if for some reason you have a sponsored advertisement, it really helps if you can listen for 30 seconds. Anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. I'm going to sign off for now, and I look forward to talking to you guys soon.